God, we come to you now, knowing that you are a God of liberation, that you are a God of justice. We come to you, Father, expecting that you would move on behalf of your people, that you would move on behalf of the most significant people that you have ever created, and they are those who are the poor, those who are the least of these, those with whom this system has decided to criminalize. We lift our hands in submission to you, God, and we pray that just like you delivered our ancestors, that you would deliver our people this day. We pray for your protection as it relates to everyone assembled here and every family. We pray that you would squash every threat. We pray, God, that you would give us victory, that you would give us justice, and that you would work on the heart of Mayor Garcetti, if you can, and get him to one, practice leadership, and do the right thing by rejecting any offer made by the Biden administration. And so, Lord, for this, we are empowered, we are strengthened, and we praise you. Ashe and amen. Block Garcetti! 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 How long we been out here, y'all? 7 days! 7 days! We've been out here for 7 days. Each and every day demanding justice and accountability for what's going on in this city. Demanding that instead of being elevated to a national position of leadership within the Biden administration, that instead Garcetti be held accountable for what's going on in our city each and every day. When we talk about the housing crisis, the over 60,000 houseless people on the streets of LA, the 4 a day who are dying. These are direct failures of Eric Garcetti. Yep. When we talk about the transportation system that is gentrifying our communities, that is pushing low-income black and brown folks out of their homes, out of their communities. This is a direct failure of Eric Garcetti. That is right. So we're here today for the 7th day in a row, demanding accountability, demanding that Joe Biden and his administration refuse to appoint Eric Garcetti to any position in his cabinet or any position of national role. That's right. So today we have a bunch of folks who are going to speak about all the ways in which Eric Garcetti has failed us, has failed the city of Los Angeles, has failed houseless folks, has failed poor and low-income folks, has failed the black and brown and indigenous communities here in Los Angeles. We're going to hear about how he has empowered police to violently oppress and abuse low-income black and brown folks in Los Angeles. We're going to talk about how he has empowered developers to push us out of our homes and out of our communities. So for our first speaker today, we have somebody who's been working very long to prevent the work that Eric Garcetti has empowered LAPD to carry out, which is spying on our people, which is oppressing our people, which is disproportionately stopping and abusing and searching and doing all of these kinds of things, right, to incarcerate and criminalize our folks unjustly. So our first speaker from Stop LAPD Spying, give it up for Jamie, y'all.
My name is Garcia, and I'm with the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition. I'm also a registered nurse in the community of Boyle Heights. So standing in front of Mayor's house is beyond symbolic and necessary today. As people who live and organize in the city of Los Angeles, it is our duty to not only fight against the injustices we see and we experience within our city, but also across this country. And for that reason, we are here to block Garcetti.
Yeah, that's
We
right.
cannot, in our full hearts and minds, allow someone who has devastated a city to continue on and devastate a country
Right.
that is in dire
That part.
need of change.
That's right.
The change that is needed is one that is grounded in racial justice and human rights.
That's right.
Eric Garcetti has failed the city of Los Angeles in many ways.
Right.
4 a day in Los Angeles died due to the housing crisis. We have seen countless sweeps of community encampments where people have lost their life-sustaining possessions violently discarded. We recently saw the terrifying images of young children dragged, hogtied, and beaten by the California Highway Patrol because they tried to inhabit vacant houses in El Sereno in the height of a pandemic. Now, in my community of Boyle Heights, we are at capacity at the hospital. And Garcetti has not only remained silent, but has failed to provide any practical solutions. Most importantly, Eric Garcetti has failed to address the Black Lives Matter movement, a movement that is calling for the city and the country to prioritize Black life.
Yep.
Garcetti has only moved in theatrics. The promise of funding $150 million from LAPD has only really been the expansion of the National Security Police state. Shortly after his proclaimed funding of LAPD, Garcetti allowed for the funding of the new Community Safety Partnership Bureau and additional millions of dollars for body cameras. These programs are only a facade of reform and not what our movement is calling for. The CSP program only allows for closer contact of police with our youth, particularly Black youth, who are 5 times more likely to be arrested than their white counterparts. Body cameras, as well, have never stopped the impunity of police murders and only serve to criminalize and surveil our communities. We are not calling for more failed reforms or nicer and gentler policing, but a complete reprioritization of city funding. Millions of people have demanded the funding abolition of police and an investment into the Black community.
That's right.
This is a time for strong leadership, not a leadership that works in theatrics and lies. Garcetti is completely out of touch with our city and therefore unfit to understand what a country of millions needs.
Come on.
Thank you.
That's right.
Block Garcetti! Block Garcetti! Block Garcetti! Block Garcetti! Block Garcetti! So we absolutely appreciate the work that our sister Jeremy Garcia and the Stop LAPD Spying Coalition is leading to stop what LAPD is doing in our communities and what Garcetti is empowering them to do. Our next speaker I want to introduce is an individual who has been a partner to Black Lives Matter since its inception, and long before that has been doing powerful work for our people here in Los Angeles, especially our houseless folks. We all know about the disparities that are going on. We all know about 4 a day ain't okay. Let's hear next and give it up to our brother who's about to explain and break down the way that Garcetti has worsened the housing situation here in Los Angeles. Our brother from the Los Angeles Community Action Network. Give it up for P1.
Back out here at Garcetti's house. This is the
What's up, y'all?
So again, we're out here at Garcetti's house.
Also a member of Black Lives Matter Los Angeles. Opposition to Garcetti failing forward. While he acted, and be clear, while he acted, number one, and help me with this, homelessness continued to increase in this community.
Homelessness continues to increase in this community.
2,
Nearly 4 people a day are dying on his street while he watches.
Nearly 4 people a day are dying on his street while he watches.
Informal settlements continue to be built on every corner of the city.
Informal settlements continue to be built on every corner of the city.
Gone are the days when houselessness was a South Central and Skid Row problem.
Gone are the days when houselessness was a South Central and Skid Row problem.
It's a citywide situation now, and it's exploded on his watch.
It's a citywide situation now, and it's exploded on his watch.
A real plan to deal with the root causes of homelessness.
The root causes of homelessness.
Housing, availability, affordability, and poverty has never emerged.
Housing, availability, affordability, and poverty.
Y'all can try that shit again. We're gonna do that one more time. A real plan to deal with the root causes of homelessness has never emerged.
A real plan to deal with the root causes of homelessness has never emerged.
Housing availability,
Housing availability,
affordability,
affordability,
and poverty
and poverty
continues to persist.
continues to
That was better. Define local and federal best practices.
define local and federal best practices.
It continuously traffics in criminalization of poverty,
Continuously traffics the criminalization of poverty,
which enriches the murderous LAPD
which enriches the murderous LAPD,
and makes it impossible for many to exit houselessness.
and makes it impossible for many to exit homelessness.
6. At the height of the pandemic, we failed to open the doors of hotels
He failed to open the doors of
to
hotels.
enjoy nearly $1 billion of public subsidies. Our fucking money. Number 7. Say it again, Jen. Number 7. He has run away from inclusionary zoning that would mandate affordable housing.
He has run away from inclusionary zoning.
Yet he regularly talks about the tragedies of redlining.
Yet he regularly talks about the tragedies of redlining.
Number 8. He remains firmly in the clutches of deep pocket developers,
He remains firmly in the clutches of deep pocket developers,
none of which bodes well for this country.
none of which bodes well for this country.
He sat silent as speculators targeted public housing for removal.
He sat silent as speculators targeted public housing for removal.
A cabinet position becomes nothing less than a parking space
A cabinet position becomes nothing less than a parking space,
where he can bundle and build for his next political escapade.
where he can bundle and build for his next political escapade.
He cannot be allowed to fail forward.
He cannot be allowed to fail forward.
Garcetti bills can't be allowed to flourish nationally.
Garcetti bills cannot be allowed to flourish nationally.
This one-trick pony needs to find a new day job because true leadership is not in his wheelhouse.
This one.
That's my brother, and I want to give him a hug, as with all of our folks. But we also know that because of this mayor and his failures, right, LA has continued to become a hot spot, to be a hot spot for the COVID virus. So we're trying to practice social distancing today. Let's continue to try to practice that, because we keep us safe.
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 Not this failure of a mayor.
Not this failure of a man.
Come on now. All right.
I think we good on the mic check.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have another individual who has been working, and their organization has been working to fight against Garcetti's policies and to fight against the Garcetti's failures, right? And one of our historic communities here in LA. Give it up now for James from K-Town for All.
That's all right.
But that's also the origin of K-Town for All. Was not to criticize or oppose Mayor Garcetti, actually. He started out supporting him. So that's how naive we were. So we started over 2 years ago to support the Bridge Home Project, the shelter, when it faced thousands and thousands of people in the streets opposing it. So those numbers don't capture the full story. Because what we're seeing as neighbors, as unpaid volunteers, going out to talk to their neighbors on the streets, is that people are suffering. On Labor Day weekend, a bunch of us, K-Town Bros, people city council, drafting, street watch, we were here distributing water because we refused to open up cooling centers. So if you remember, during Labor Day, we reached over 127,000 unsheltered people. He opened up 5 cooling centers for the entire city to serve 155 people.
Wow.
It's scared that people are dying on the street.
Right.
On Labor Day weekend, people were working, they were being cooked alive on the pavement. And we saw that. And K-Town for All member Nick saw someone writhing in pain on the streets because they were having a Tuesday. So 19 people died during Labor Day weekend because we couldn't take the most basic steps to open up school centers. Of course, Sunny. That's only the tip of the iceberg. In this pandemic, we have ignored included laws to let the lead take protection and open up the schools. And because of this inaction, at least 103,000 families are at risk of becoming homelessness. So that's not just getting evicted. 120,000 families in LA will become homeless because of that. Instead of dealing with things like your public that needs to be done in city lives, what he's doing is spending our student costs. This is why people basic belongings, pets, blankets, and winter is coming. It's cold at night, more people are going to die. He's not doing shit. That's right. Yay! When he got us these blankets and LA Cam with activists, because we're offering services. So when he got us the third people
So, brother.
with flowers, so that he can throw away their belongings, we have to them. Hey, hey! You know why he does this? It is because he's only interested in serving the wealthy donor class. He's funded by the LA Police Union. And thank you to Black Lives Matter LA for welcoming us into this movement because we're seeing the connection between policing and criminalization. And we know that for $100 million of the police budget, over $3 billion is going to LAPD, which means that he spends less than $4 on homeless lives and $30 on homeless. So for every $4 that he spends on homelessness, he spends $30 on police. Thank you, Black Lives Matter, for welcoming us into this and for teaching us what it means to reimagine a better world that's rooted in love and community, a world beyond the dystopian hellscape that this asshole is responsible for. Fuck yourself,
So we've had a couple of speakers talk about the housing crisis, the housing crisis, the poverty crisis that is gripping the city of Los Angeles, that is worsening, that has been exacerbated by policies that Mayor Garcetti has enacted during his tenure in the last 8 years, right? We also know that the other position he's being considered for is Secretary of Transportation.
Shame.
Right, exactly. Our next speaker, right? Our next speaker is from an organization that has been working to fight Mayor Garcetti's policies and to build power among public transit riders for years. I'm introducing the Director of Organizing for the Labor and Community Strategy Center and the Bus Riders Union, Channing Martinez. Give it up for Channing, y'all.
Good morning, y'all. I'm still waking up. Sorry, I'm a morning person. But yes, does need to wake up. So I'm the director of organizing for the Bus Riders Union. I've been in the Bus Riders Union for about 15 years, and we've been organizing against Garcetti's policies since he got in, and against the Metro's racist policies for 25, 30 years. We've tried working with him for the last 7 years, and in 2014, the Bus Riders Union met with Garcetti to ask him to stop the fare increase. And as a result, and we asked him to implement free public transportation. As a result, he promised that he would lower the fares from $75 to $50, but then ended up cutting a deal with Xavier Swansky and Mark Ridley Thomas to raise the fares to $100, about 100% more of the fares than consent decree levels. That's when we sued them, and the federal government was forcing them to keep the fares affordable. Uh, we asked the mayor to stop racially profiling black passengers on MTA buses. Black people, who are only 9% of the population, only 14% of the ridership, were receiving 55 and 60% of arrests and tickets on metro buses and trains. And even now, as the tickets and the arrests have lowered only because of the quarantine, black people, no gifts, right, are still at the top of the list. Shame. Hey. We're glad to be now working in collaboration with the CEO of Phil Washington, who is actually doing more than Garcetti and looking at free public transportation. We get the black people to do something great, right? But we're sad that we've tried to work with Garcetti. He has 4 votes on the board, and he has influence over the four. What's the name? Over the 4 appointees of the League of Cities, which means 8 votes to stop any racist policies. And he has proven over the last 7 years that he doesn't care about the lives of black folks and Latino folks, that he only cares about his contracts and about policing. Right? So, with that, we're basically calling on Garcetti to implement free public transportation and the multi-agency policing contract, $7 billion to use black and Latino passengers. And then we're calling on the Biden and Harris administration, when looking for a Secretary of Department of Transportation, to look elsewhere. Because what we certainly don't want is for Garcetti to go into the federal arena and take the sad policies that he's made here and make them federal, so that black people can be pushed out way more than they have ever. To bring this home, I'll just give you one number, right? Black people are dwindling. I think we all know that, right? In the 1970s, our population was 25%. Today, we're only 9%. And all of that has to be attributed to Garcetti, the Metro, and all of its policies. So we're calling on the Harris-Biden administration to look elsewhere. And then the last thing is, we're also calling on them to reform the Department of Transportation. All they care about is contracts. All they care about is rail. They don't care about black lives. And not only in Los Angeles, but in every single city in the United States, black people are being pushed out of those cities. And a lot of it is due to transportation. And so what we want, and what we're asking the Biden administration to do, is to reform the department to say that we want a department of transit riders and not of transit developers.
Absolutely unconscionable that black folks who are 8 to 9% of the city and 14% of the bus ridership get over 50% of the arrests and the tickets given by the police on our public transportation. That is unacceptable, and Mayor Garcetti has continued to not only allow that to happen, but to increase the rate that that's happening because of the increase in fares, right, that we've seen. So we also know, right, that it's not only our buses, it's also the subway lines that have been abusing and criminalizing and gentrifying our communities and pushing our folks out, right? One organization that has been doing a lot of work on the ground many years to prevent the gentrification of historic black communities in Los Angeles because of subway development is my brother Damian Goodman from the Crenshaw Subway Coalition. Please give it up. Downtown Crenshaw.
That's right.
Crenshaw.
Downtown Crenshaw.
Downtown
Crenshaw.
Somebody say free the land.
Free the land.
Free the land. Free the land.
Free the land.
I'm proud to both be the founder and executive director of the Crenshaw Subway Coalition, one of the board members of Downtown Crenshaw, along with Sister Jan Williams. You don't recognize yourself as a member of BLM. We were there the first day of the founding of BLM when we were then known as Justice for Trayvon Martin. And Melita is a board member of Crenshaw Subway Coalition, along with all the community who have been integrated in this fight for racial justice, for black empowerment from the beginning. And I gotta say that there is not an individual in Los Angeles who is more responsible for our city being the least affordable city in the country than Eric Garcetti. Stick with me. Based on the amount of money that people make in housing costs, Los Angeles is the least affordable city in America. First as city council president, then as mayor, Garcetti has turned our city of angels, into a city of tents. He has turned our city which was founded in its current formation by a majority of people of African descent, into a place of rampant black houselessness, rampant black housing insecurity. He has used his positions on the Metro Board, not for the expansion of transit for the black and brown riders who make up the system, but for the creation of transit lines of terror. For the creation of transit-oriented districts, which are better known as transit-oriented displacement districts. He has weaponized his planning department to grease the wheels of luxury housing developers, building like the monstrosity in La Cienega in Jefferson. That skyscraper that's completely out of place. With the 2-bedrooms they start at $5,300 a month. They start at $5,300 a month. And we know that when you bring that in, it unleashes not just a wave of cultural change within our historic black and brown communities, but it unleashes a wave of displacement of those renters and those who seek to buy homes in the communities that we have called our own. And so, with this record, I don't even know how anybody could be considering him for anything. If you want America's gentrification crisis, the houselessness crisis, the traffic crisis that makes Los Angeles the joke of the country, if you want to see that expanded, sure, appoint him to the federal to a cabinet position. But if you don't, he should go the same route as the last mayor. He needs to find himself a consultancy with Herbalife. That's about the only thing he needs to do. He should not be trying to do anything but come out here and apologize. Apologize for the black lives that are lost every day. Apologize for the houseless, the 4 a day that are lost every day. Apologize to those of us who have called this place our home for decades and for, in some cases, over a century, and are now seeing that being lost. That amazing cultural diversity. I won't call it a melting pot. It's more like a salad bowl where we all recognize our spaces, whether it's Boyle Heights for our brown brothers and sisters, or Crenshaw for us. Recognize that diversity, which makes Los Angeles great, needs to be maintained, and his policies are doing the exact opposite. He seeks to wipe us out and whiten this amazing space that we have called our own. And so, again, Eric, if you want to be a Herbalife consultant, I'm down for that. In fact, we will call Herbalife right now and encourage them to take you. But stay out of D.C. Stay out of the Biden administration. Violence, right? We know that's another form of state-sanctioned violence.
That's right.
Forcing our folks into poverty and houselessness and housing insecurity is state-sanctioned violence. When we have the resources to provide the opposite, but we choose not to, that is state-sanctioned violence.
That's right.
Right? So we know that these are absolutely connected. Right? We know these issues are connected. We know his failure on housing, his failure on transportation, his failure on gentrification, his failure on policing, especially police accountability and stopping the police murder and the murderous LAPD that he is over. We know that these are connected, right? So, one of our next speaker and one of the organizations that's been working with us especially recently over the summer with our People's Budget LA Coalition, opposing this fraudulent mayor's budget, right? Which would have increased the police budget at a time when every other city department was taking a cut, and at a time when thousands and thousands of Angelenos have been suffering from economic insecurity, housing insecurity, health insecurity because of this COVID pandemic, right? So we appreciate the work of this partner. We want to welcome up our sibling Astrid from People's City Council.
But anyway, so I'm Astrid from People City Council. Thank you so much to BLM for having us here today. People City Council came together because of the failure of Eric Garcetti in the beginning of the pandemic when he didn't do anything to protect tenants. We drove by. We were here all summer. I think I was here more than he was all summer. Still here, and we're approaching the winter, so or we're in it already. I don't know. But uh, yeah. So we all know that Eric hasn't done anything for anybody but himself and his wealthy friends. We've been doing outreach these past weeks, this past months with K-Town for All, with Streetlight Ballet,
What's up?
directly engaging with our homeless members and the homeless community because no one else does. If no one steps up to do this work, who else is going to do it? We're all doing it right now. Everyone right here, right now, is speaking up for people that can't be here, for everyone on the streets. When you drive over here and you get off the freeway, like you see tents just on the freeway, like it's everywhere. Everywhere you turn, you see a flaw that is a direct result of Eric Garcetti's daily decision to not help us. He wakes up every single day and he has the decision to do whatever he wants. He has so much power. These guys have so much power. These cops, they can, I don't know, I don't care if it's a job to just get food on the table. They're deciding every single day to hurt us instead of help us. And it's a decision that you have to make. And it's not that difficult to be on the right side of justice. So that's all I gotta say. Thank you so much to BLM for having us today. Every single day until we get what we want. Because when we fight, we fight. Block Garcetti. Block Garcetti.
So for our next speaker, we have somebody from an organization that's been down with us. You can even tell it in their name. We have, y'all have probably seen her out here every day with us, and at almost all of our actions out here for the last 3 years, almost every Wednesday with us for Jackie Lacey, and has consistently been a warrior in this struggle for justice, right? And organizing her people and her community, right, to advance the policies that we need to confront anti-blackness. So here to talk about their work against Eric Garcetti is our lovely sister from White People for Black Lives, Gina!
Thank you, Joseph. Mayor Eric Garcetti's list of failures is long. With the housing crisis and failure to address the demands of the Black Lives the city's houseless population, the majority of which is black, continues to rise despite billions of tax dollars to address the problem.
Right.
Garcetti has also failed to take seriously the millions of people who joined this summer's Black Lives Matter protest. This black-led movement has not been calling for more police bureaucracy and oversight,
Right.
but demanding a fundamental change in the city priorities. Invest in communities and divest from criminalizing black people by defunding the police and investing
That's right,
in
Gina.
He cannot read the cries of the city. How can we expect him to know what this nation needs? The answer is simple. He cannot. He cannot be appointed to a place where he can do national harm, or more likely, national nothing. Garcetti is very much that, a nothing man. We as White People for Black Lives have been out in support of Black Lives Matter for many years. Our organization grew out of a need for more white witness, awareness, and support to what is happening in our city and its racist policing practices. LAPD is the most murderous law enforcement agency in the nation, followed by our very own LA Sheriff's Department.
That's right.
Mayor Garcetti has been directly complicit with his refusal to hold any law enforcement agency accountable. White People for Black Lives is organizing to end white support for state violence here in LA County. Eric Garcetti is exactly that, white support for state violence.
That's right, Gina.
As such, we are against Eric Garcetti and are sadly willing to take one for the team and deal with him here in Los Angeles to spare the rest of America his woeful incompetence. Eric Garcetti is the most monumental of disappointments. The city had a modicum of hope for him, as Jane mentioned earlier, and he couldn't even reach that. The Biden-Harris team must not appoint Garcetti to any cabinet position. We will be here every day until we block Garcetti!
Block Garcetti.
Block Garcetti!
Black Garcetti!
Block Garcetti!
Black Garcetti!
Black Lives for your work and your consistent partnership in this work and in this struggle. Next up, we have one of our folks who consistently models for us what group-centered leadership is, who consistently models for us how to show up in this struggle, how to be an organizer in all of the different spaces that we're in, how to bring our talents and abilities into this movement for justice, how to fight for liberation for our people, and how to love. Because we know that this movement for justice is ultimately based out of love for our people, right? Yep. We love our people way more than we hate Garcetti, right? So one of the folks who is consistently showing us and leading us in this work and in being an example of how to fight for justice and how to uplift our communities. From Black Lives Matter Los Angeles, Dr. Melina Abdullah. What's up, Doc? How you doing?
Every fight we've engaged in, we've won. Because when we fight,
We win!
we fight,
We win!
we fight,
We win!
we don't win this one. Some of the folks who spoke, and there were a couple of things, everything really resonated with me, but there were a couple of things that resonated with me especially and made me pause, made me kind of retreat into myself. One was, I think it was Jane who said this, that people were lured into showers. Houseless folks were lured into showers. And she talked about them taking houseless folks' belongings. But when I thought of the phrase "lured into shower,"
Right.
I thought about a mayor who dares to align himself with progressive Judaism.
Right. That's right.
Luring people into showers, and what that means, what the history of that is, and how he should be especially ashamed of his behavior because of what he professes to be spiritual. He cannot be luring people into showers to essentially steal their lives, luring people into showers and resulting in 4 deaths a day. That's a history that he is supposed to be countering, not perpetuating. There's something else that resonated with me. That someone said, I believe it was Channing from the Bus Riders Union, about how Garcetti's policies, transportation policies, and the raising of fares required federal intervention. Now let us think about what it would mean if Garcetti were the federal intervention. Because that's what's being proposed. What's being proposed is that Garcetti's murderous policies, and they are murderous whether his actual finger is on the trigger or not, become the policies of the nation.
Right.
What is being proposed is that Garcetti, if he were named HUD secretary, would set housing policies for the nation that not only bring 4 deaths a day in Los Angeles, but across every city in this country. He would be able to be a purveyor of the deaths of houseless folks. He would be able to be a purveyor of one who says handcuffs, not house keys. When we say house keys, not handcuffs, we need to be clear that his transportation policy is also murderous. When you cut through black and brown and poor communities with trains, I became involved with the Crenshaw Subway Coalition because my children's school was on the proposed train line, and I knew that the above grounding of the Crenshaw line would bring death to black people who live in the Crenshaw district. So I'm thankful to Damian Goodman and the Crenshaw Subway Coalition for saying we're going to stand up. And we fought and fought and fought, yet Garcetti continued to push forward a policy that would above ground that train, hitting the black children, potentially hitting the black children who cross Crenshaw to go to Crenshaw High School, who cross Crenshaw to go to U Park High School and middle school, right? He doesn't care about black life. And so these anti-black and murderous policies that he has enacted in Los Angeles would become the policies of the nation. And I want to be clear. Black Lives Matter was founded right here in Los Angeles. In response to the acquittal of George Zimmerman, who murdered Trayvon Martin. But it's not accidental that we were not birthed in Florida. We were birthed in Los Angeles. Because Los Angeles, especially under Garcetti, is profoundly anti-black.
That's right.
On Garcetti's watch, 157 people have been killed by LAPD. And his police commission, which for many years was led by real estate land developer Steve Soferoff, in whose pocket Garcetti sits, right? Refused to find out of policy any of those murders except 6. They refused to hold any of those police George Floyd, dares to feign empathy for the family of Breonna Taylor, dares to name the anti-blackness that stole the life of Ahmaud Arbery, but can't shed a tear for Waukesha Wilson, who won't dare utter the name Riddell Jones, the black mother of two who prompted the largest black encampment in U.S. history, 54 days outside of Garcetti's office, and he wouldn't even come out to say, I'm sorry. He won't shed a tear for the family of 14-year-old Jesse Romero, whose life was stolen because this child who hadn't even made it to high school yet was writing with a marker on something other than paper. I dare you to say that you didn't do that too when you were 14. So Garcetti, despite his liberal veneer, despite his smiling face and yoga pants, despite the fact that he'll quickly tell you he understands black communities because he's in the Peace Corps of Ethiopia, despite the fact that he'll say, I got black friends, our roommates have been jealous, right? Despite that fact, what he represents is a liberal form of white supremacy.
That's right.
What he represents is a liberal form of white supremacy. We just got Trump out of office. We refuse to replace blatant, violent white supremacy with liberal white supremacy. We want freedom. We don't want liberal white supremacy. We want justice. And so we are standing here, and I counted because the media is going to say there were about 20 people. I counted there were 112 of us. During the weekend and during the week when we didn't have to be at work, there were upwards of 400 people. Remember that despite the money he has behind him, despite this police force who's armed with guns and continues to threaten us with arrest, criminalize us for exercising our First Amendment right and our sacred duty, rather than criminalizing a mayor who's responsible for the actual murders of people, right? It's important to remember, despite police abuse, threats of criminalization, COVID, and we want to be very clear that we are not blind to the fact that this is a COVID hotspot, and COVID hits black people harder than it does any other community. And that's another refusal of Eric Garcetti. He refused to address the black LA demand in response to the coronavirus pandemic and economic fallout, right? Despite all of that, we are here because we have a sacred duty. And because we understand that when we fight, we win. And we understand that there's another pandemic, the pandemic that steals black life. And so we are standing in the face of COVID and police repression to say, block Garcetti. Block Garcetti.
Block Garcetti.
We're going to be here every single day until Garcetti either says he's going to refuse an appointment or Biden says, I'm going to refuse to appoint. Ashe.
Absolutely. Your presence here has been absolutely transformative and informative. We are transforming the national narrative, right? We are transforming the national narrative around what Eric Garcetti's legacy actually is, right? We are transforming the narrative for people from outside of California who look and see, oh, that's a progressive state. He must be a progressive guy, right? We are transforming that narrative. So what we are doing is building our own power, right? It's called power, the ability to define phenomena and how it acts, right? They have been defining, these power structures have been defining Eric Garcetti's reign here in LA as a progressive reign. They have been defining him as a progressive mayor, as a champion for the oppressed, as a champion of people's rights, as a champion of diversity and celebrating different communities, right? They have been defining Eric Garcetti as that, and we are changing that fucking definition. Right? That is power. Through our presence, through our words, through our actions, we are changing that definition. We are exerting our own power. Ashe? Ashe. So we had a bunch of powerful ass folks speak to us today. A bunch of powerful ass folks. And we didn't have translation the whole time, because that would have made it like 2-3 times longer. But we do know that there's a whole bunch of folks, our communities here in LA that don't speak English, right? And we ain't gonna be able to translate it to every language, but we want to make sure that we at least have something for our brothers and sisters who speak Spanish. So we're gonna welcome up another individual from an organization that has been 10 toes down in this struggle with us. Ground Game LA. Where's my sister Tabitha? Hey, give it up for Tabitha.
I've been doing a lot of planning justice work in LA, started doing activist stuff. I just want to add that, like, Garcetti, his transportation policies are also directly responsible for the fact that we are the city in the country with the worst air quality, right? The fact that we keep building housing next to freeways, that is a policy decision, despite the fact that it is well known that living near freeway causes things like asthma, especially in older people and kids, right? And where are all the freeways in this city? In Black and brown communities.
Right, that's right.
Right? He is directly responsible for the fact that our climate keeps deteriorating as a result of his transit policy. He cannot be appointed as transit secretary. He cannot be appointed as housing secretary.
Come on.
I'm also here today to do some language justice. So, para nuestros hermanos, hermanas, hermanes de la comunidad hispanoparlante en Los Ángeles, quiero decirles que hoy estamos aquí para bloquear la nominación de Eric Garcetti para ser secretario de Transporte o de Vivienda dentro del gabinete del presidente electo Biden. Estamos acá a oponernos a un hombre que ha sido inepto para nuestra ciudad, donde las tasas de indigencia han seguido aumentando año tras año, donde las políticas de transporte han marginalizado a nuestras comunidades negras, inmigrantes, latinas. Es un hombre que es anti-negro, que se opone a la comunidad inmigrante y latina en esta ciudad y que no ha hecho nada por ayudarnos. O sea que hoy estamos aquí y cada día vamos a estar aquí frente de la mansión del alcalde hasta que él se niegue a aceptar una posición dentro del gabinete del presidente electo o en la administración del presidente electo diga que no lo van a nombrar como secretario de Transporte o de Vivienda. Gracias a todos, pero nada más hispanoparlantes acá en el futuro. Únanse a nuestra lucha. Black Garcetti!
Black Garcetti! Language justice, because that's absolutely what it is, and we really appreciate that. We also appreciate the language justice, our folks from Pro Bono ASL. a volunteer basis, it's powerful as hell to have our folks step up and make sure that our communities are included and can be a part of this. Ashe? Ashe. So we also know we had a bunch of damn speakers today, right? But it's a bunch of y'all orgs out here that we also want to acknowledge, even if y'all have not spoken. So we want to do a roll call and some shout outs. I'm going to let y'all shout it out. I could call out some. I see some of y'all, but I'm going to let y'all shout them out. Who else out here? What orgs out here? DSA. Man, they supposed to shout it out. Well, they were shout. What's up, Jamie and all the folks from DSA? Who else out here? Students deserve. Who else out here? Black American Dad Foundation. Black American Dad. Youth Justice Coalition. What up, got our folks organizing from Antelope Valley. Justice Los Angeles.
Los Angeles Tenants Union.
Hey! And of course our fam at Pro Bono ASL is in the house. It's a lot of us. We can do that. Clergy and laity united for economic justice. Make some noise. Chant down Babylon, black people are the bomb, we ready. Hey, fuck Garcetti. Hey, chant down Babylon, black people are the bomb, we ready. Hey, fuck Garcetti. Hey, chant down Babylon, black people are the bomb, we ready. Hey, fuck Garcetti. Hey. Real quick. Fuck 12. Spread out a little bit more. You know, just a little bit. Try to get a little 6 feet in between us if we can. I'm going to do the same. Garcetti is the worst mayor in the nation. Don't pick him for transportation. Garcetti is the worst mayor in the nation. Don't pick him for transportation. He is the worst mayor in the nation. Don't pick him for transportation. Garcetti is the worst mayor in the nation. Don't pick him for transportation. Garcetti is the worst mayor in the nation. Don't pick him for transportation. Garcetti is the worst mayor in the nation.
Hey, bro, what time you got? Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Become a slave, right? So never forget, these are not police, they are slave catchers. So what do we say? Fuck you. Slave catchers. Fuck. Slave catchers. Slave catchers. Fuck. Slave catchers. Slave catchers. Slave catchers. Slave catchers. Slave catchers.
Not a movement! This our house? Yeah, we own it! This a movement! Not a movement! This our house? Yeah, we own it! This a movement! Not a movement! This our city? Yeah, we own it! This a movement! Not a movement! This our city? Yeah, we own it! This a movement! Not a movement! This our city? Yeah, we own it! This a movement! Not a movement! This our city? Yeah, we own it! This a movement! Not a movement! This our house? Yeah, we own it! This a movement! Not a movement! This our house? Yeah, we own it! This a movement! Not a movement! These are streets? Yeah, we own it! This a movement! Not a movement! These are streets? Yeah, we own it! This a movement! Not a movement! This our city? Yeah, we own it! This a movement! Not a movement! This our city? Yeah, we own it! This a movement! Not a movement! Blood Garcetti! 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 How do you spell racist? L-A-G-D! How do you spell racist? L-A-G-D! How do you spell racist? L-A-G-D! How do you spell useless? 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 L-A-G-D! How do you spell racist? 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 L-A-G-D! Defund the police! 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 All right, y'all. Jan want to do hers real quick, y'all. Garcetti ain't going nowhere. Middle fingers in the air. Garcetti ain't going nowhere. Middle fingers in the air. Garcetti ain't going nowhere. Middle fingers in the air. Garcetti ain't going nowhere. Middle fingers in the air. Garcetti ain't going nowhere. Middle fingers in the air.
Hey, what's going on? It's 81. We at our Garcetti's house. What's up, everybody in the chat? We came out early today. We'll be back at 6 p.m. tonight. There'll be another protest out here. We decided to come cover the Black Lives Matter protest of Eric Garcetti. We're at his house. Hey, brother, I'm African American too, and everybody has the right to protest. I go to every protest. I don't care who throw it. I'm just bringing people footage. Of course, the news was here, so I'm here, and I'm someplace where the news not at.
But we'll be back.
Everybody say, I. I believe. I believe. I believe that. We're going to believe. As you walk, I want you to believe.
There we go.
Ancestors did not get this far so that you couldn't run. Everybody
Spread out.
ready?
Let's make sure we keep our distance.
Oh man!
Like a church service almost. Exactly
Wait, let me mute my mic. All right, so this protest is over. We'll be back again this evening. And it's too hot to come out here this early. Oh man, I should have drove up here with you, brother. Jeez, hey, that's smart. So we live in Garcetti's house. This protest started about 9:30. We're out here covering this is the Black Lives Matter protest. see, everything was peaceful out here. We cover everything, man. We're on Wilshire and Crenshaw right now. Oh, you had a fight? They are protesting Garcetti right now. It's a block Garcetti. So this is the Black Lives Matter protest. So we're on the corner of Wilshire and Crenshaw right now. Practicing their right to protest. Oh, got one of those waters. Thank you.
In the same way that we get our
Hey, I'm struggling like you, brother, with that.
I'm paraphrasing because I'm not intelligent about this. But as Father Garcetti said, we in Black Lives Matter are a demand-centered organization. And if we state demands based on the conditions of our people and this power struggle, to help lead us in a solid, I'm going to ask our folks to maintain this perimeter. Everybody else, if you are not under 25 and a member of BLMLA, let's maintain this perimeter.
He said we late
And
to
we're
work.
about to have our young folks lead us in a solid. It is our duty to fight for freedom. It is our duty to win.
We must love and protect one another. We have nothing to lose but our shame. It is our duty to fight for freedom. It is our duty to fight for freedom. It is our duty to win. It is our duty to win. We must love and protect one another. We must love and protect one another. We have nothing to lose but our shame. We have nothing to lose but our shame. It is our duty to fight for freedom. It is our duty to fight for freedom. It is our duty to win. It is our duty to win. We must love and protect one another. We must love and protect one another. We have nothing to lose but our shame. We have nothing to lose but our shame.
Let's all follow Mama Keely in an orderly way over to the right side of the street.
Gotta sneak that water quicker. I know. Good to see you again,
Hey,
bro.
stay safe.
Oh,
Good
all the
seeing you
time, man.
too.
Absolutely, man.
Park that way. We'll see you at the
Yeah,
next
I should have parked. Yeah. All right, bro.
Black Garcetti. Black Garcetti.
Yo, slow the fuck down.
You guys move up. I got the cars. Move up.
Hey.
Yeah, that's good.
Uh,
Move up, you guys.
Why am I doing what?
Why are you recording us?
Oh, bro, I can record what I want to.
Why are you recording us though?
I can record what I want to
know
record.
that. Why are you recording us? I'm asking you.
Bro, I'm not recording you. You just happen to be right there. Why are you speeding? Your job to run people over? This dude is triggered. Hey man, I'm just out here covering the news for everybody. It's getting hostile on Wilshire though. You said it that way.
I want to.
We're walking down Wilshire right now. Just finished covering the mayor's house. Man, that dude was tripping. Jesus. You can't run people over, though, brother.
No, you can't run people over. But I'm just saying that's what
Hey, but I got people
the
other dude was being a
crazy.
jerk.
Yeah, he was being a jerk.
Yeah.
That dude, I could understand what he was. You know what I mean? I can understand his frustration.
I can
It wasn't
understand.
right.
Yeah.
It wasn't right. But is that something new with him?
No, it ain't. You know we gonna do that anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'm there all the time. Yeah, I cover everything.
You see, they gave that one a ticket.
Yeah, I remember when they was about to beat you up. I can't even remember your name. You used my battery. It was real calm. It was real calm. Yeah.
So yeah, I get it. But see, again, it's one of those situations where our paycheck hinders us from doing what's in our best interest, or the lack thereof.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Nah, I agree with you.
Right. What are you stressed about? Exactly. Like you don't have a union. You should not either. you should want us to try to organize a union for you.
He about to hit everybody.
But that's the sad part. The sad part is that's the dilemma that our people have. That's where we are. Yeah. We got to. Now see, you see these guys.
Happy she is.
She
said, hey, take your time.
But that's crazy. That's pretty good. No. And lawsuit upon lawsuit upon lawsuit. They always lose. But it's to pay those lawsuits off than it is for them to have to.
I think they're getting so much bad media.
That makes sense, though.
You see what I'm saying? So they do it. Because not everybody's going to sue, even though they've been wrong.
They don't even want to go through that hassle.
They don't want to do that.
I was looking at Bingham's Instagram. Apparently, that guy, he's running for some public office.
He's running for to be appointed NAACP.
The same shit you were doing?
First vice president.
That's the same.
I'm running for president. So he wants to be appointed.
That ain't gonna happen.
Oh, no.
Yes, I get him
right. Yes, I do.
That's why it ain't gonna happen.
It might.
Well, tell me why it won't. Because I think it could.
It could, but it don't. It could. I understand. It
We'll
could.
say it like this. It could, but it shouldn't.
It shouldn't be. That's what I'm saying.
Now that sounds better. But no, anything can happen.
I mean, the
So-
bottom line is a whole lot of black folks are complicit in our oppression. And they profited from it. And so the question becomes, Are you somebody who profits from our oppression? Or are you not? And anymore in 2020, it's not enough for you to just not be. You also got to be shown the fight against it. It's like it's not enough for white folks to not